Okay, so once again, Bringing Yoga to Life by Donna Farhi. She's amazing, so check her out. This chapter is called The Freedom of Discipline. And this is a quote that I want to read to you that she wrote in the very beginning of this chapter by Gotra, right? I think that's Gotra. I can never pronounce German well. So, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectively concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which countless ideas and splendid, I can't see very well, even with my glasses on. Hold on, let me give myself some more light. I'm gonna start from the beginning. Let me just get a flashlight on my phone. This is what happens when you get old. You can't see. Okay, the freedom of discipline. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitively commits oneself, then providence soon moves. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So this idea of commitment, requires a deep sense of discipline. And I don't know about you, but oftentimes when I solidify a commitment for something, it happens quietly for me often. It isn't always this shout from the rooftops kind of moment where there's this grand experience that suddenly you make the shift that you've been trying to make for a while. Oftentimes, these things can kind of slip in the night and come in quietly. So, what is it like for you? How do you cultivate a sense of commitment? And is it something that you have to kind of have a sankalpa around and think and dream and wish and kind of imagine, and then suddenly the commitment is fully sprouted? Or are you the type that just kind of, boldly states something and off you go? So know yourself, know how commitment is formed within you, know how the process of discipline is your friend. And not your foe. Oftentimes we think of discipline as something that binds us, but really discipline is something that sets us free. So close your eyes and think about something. I think seasonal changes are a really good time to take stock and contemplate any shifting you want to make in any way. So have a moment now to contemplate something that you would like to commit to. Is there anything a subtle thing in your life that you'd like to shift or change? Is there anything that you've been kind of mulling over that you've been a little wishy-washy about and haven't had a decisiveness in your thoughts or actions? Whatever it is that you are trying to have a firm commitment to, let's bring a sense of discipline that our asana practice offers us to this. What can you do today to foster this commitment? All right, so let it go from the mind and bring it into the body. Allow yourself to bloom with breath. Let there be freshness on the inhale, and let there be release on the exhale. Whatever is needed. Take stock of the way your body feels. Is there anything you can do in this moment to facilitate a little more fluid and free posture? Is there tension somewhere in your skull or neck or shoulders or anywhere in your body that you could consciously bring attention to and release? When you're ready, place the hands together at your heart. Let's bow into this moment. Create an intention. Maybe your intention can feed your commitment. And release your hands. Okay, let's find our way onto our mat. All right, so coming down onto your back. As you find your way, take note as you lie down. How are you feeling? Is there anything specific in your body today that you feel like you need to make sure you get to nourish? And of course, you can always ignore what I'm offering and do whatever your heart's desires, or whatever your body desires, I should say. Okay, so let's stretch and lengthen. Let's reach through the right and reach through the left and come into that beautiful awakening. Big breaths. All right, and release your hands. And let's bring our knees into our chest. And let's rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. All right, so let's circle the knees, kind of roll them in one direction. Feel this across your sacrum. Roll it in another direction. Nice, beautiful breathing. All right, and then let's open the knees away from the midline and bring them back in. Just feeling into that state of your hip joints. How is your range of motion today? And then right knee into the chest, left leg long on the ground. Feel that compression, squeeze into your hip. Let's move around in your feet. Let your head rest. So the anticipation of deeper movements might be living in your body. So see if you can teach your neck and shoulders that not yet, that you can relax. Head left knee in, stretch your right leg long. Feel into the wiggles of your toes and the movement of your ankles. And then as you're ready, grab a strap, if you have one. And we're going to wrap a strap around your right foot and lift that leg straight up in the air. Your left foot can be on the ground, or your left leg or left foot can be on the ground. So whatever feels best for your pelvis. All right, and then while you're here, flex your toes toward your face, lift your heel, move your femur bone away from the shoulders, so nice relaxed shoulders. Now we're going to point and flex the toe a couple of times just so you can feel the front of your shin and the top of your foot stretch, as well as the calf and the bottom of your foot. And then we're going to take the strap into the right hand and pull, and you can even hold your foot if you can get there. So we're going to just come into a happy baby pose here. Be mindful of where your pelvis is landing. Try not to lean over to the right. Just feel that compression in the hips, long spine. Then we're going to lift that leg back up in the air. Press your foot sky high. Root your hip down. We're going to cross the right leg over to the left. So take the strap in the left hand. Stretch through the big toe and the inner heel and feel your femur bone move away from your shoulder. I like to put the heel of my hand in there. Just give it a little bit stretch. Breathing well. Is your head and neck relaxed? And then lift that leg back up. We're going to open out to the side, to the right side. So take the strap in the right hand. Lengthen through your spine. Feel the deep breath. Go ahead and put your right foot on your left knee. Now reverse your pigeon pose. Feel free to rock a little bit side to side. We're opening up that hip joint a little bit more. All right, 2 feet straight up into the strap. Lengthen through your spine. Take the strap off and lower your legs down onto the ground. Notice the difference between your 2 sides. Can you feel a sense of embodiment, length, space, awareness on that right side a little bit more than the left? Then we're going to take our left foot and put it up into the strap. Right foot can be on the ground, right leg can be on the ground. Open up through the hamstring, feel the length of the spine. The femur bone is drawing back against the bottom edge of the joint in the hip joint. Feel the reach of your foot upward and the drop of the femur bone downward. Feel free to flex and point your foot. You can kind of wrap the strap around the heel, the front of the heel, so you have a little grip spot so you can move your foot. We're going to pull your leg down into half happy baby. You can hold your left foot if you want to. Feel free to pick up your right leg and put your right foot on the ground if you want. Deep compression in the hip joint. Feel that sense of like a deep squat kind of vibe in your hip. And then reach that leg straight back up. Open the hamstring again. And then cross the leg over to the right. Hold the strap in the right hand. Left hand, heel of the hand. Compress your left thigh bone away from the shoulder. Notice if you want to externally rotate your leg, see if you can roll into a little teeny bit of an internal rotation. Stretch through the big toe and the inner heel. The neck and the shoulders are still passive. They don't need to get up and go just yet. Lift that leg straight up in the air. We're going to open up the leg out to the left. Holding the strap in the left hand, still feeling weighted in the whole right side of your body, your shoulders, your head. Breathe into the openness of your inner thigh. And then lift that leg straight up in the air again. Take the right foot and join it up in there with the left. 2 feet into the strap. Hold on for a moment. You can flex and point both feet now at the same time. So you can just open up the calves, the Achilles, the tops of the feet. And then be somewhat neutral. Let your femur bones drop. Feel the length of your spine. Thigh bones moving away from shoulders. And notice that this is a forward bend, and there's so much space in the spine because we are moving with gravity. Gravity's spreading our spine out, so there's a lot less compression than if we were sitting with our legs straight out in front of us doing this. All right, and then release your leg, left foot on top of right knee, reverse pigeon pose on this side. Feel free to rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. It's okay if you would rather be still or just warming up our legs. All right. One more time. Legs straight up in the air, arms up overhead. Feel that spinal extension. Breathe well. And then slowly lower your legs down to the ground. You can bend your knees whenever you want. Once you're down on the ground, spread out your fingers and toes, and then exhale, knees into your chest. Once more, open out to a starfish. Feel your wrists roll, your open and closed fists, whatever feels good. Exhale, knees into your chest. Relax your head back down, grab onto 2 feet now, happy baby pose. Just notice if maybe there's a little more freedom in this from everything we've already done. Drop the tip of the tailbone down, widen the pelvic floor. Feel the sense of ease in your neck and shoulders still. All right, release your legs down, feet onto the floor. Pick up your hips, scoot them to the right, knees come up and drop them to the left. Breathing well, finding a twist. Turn your head in opposition of your knees, rest. And then lift your knees up, scooch hips to the left, knees come up and drop to the right. Open across your chest. Notice if you have a different feeling, twisting one direction than the other. You know, it's pretty common for us to have patterns in the body where we enjoy twisting in one direction more than another. Okay, and come back up. Bring your knees to your chest. Roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, let's move through the upper body now. Some cat-cows. Maybe that feels nice to do a couple rounds of spreading your shoulder blades and bringing the shoulder blades toward each other. After you move through some cat-cows, if you want to do any other movement in the rib cage or pelvis, move through your neck, your shoulders, so find some opening. And then settle back into child's pose and walk the hands far out in front of you. You can inch them and inch them again a little bit further so you get a good stretch in your shoulders. Keep your neck soft and relaxed. All right, and come back up onto all fours. Arch your back, lift your tail, and then exhale to come up into dog pose. Spread out your feet. Feel free to pedal. You can drop one heel and then drop the other heel. Just find your way. A deep breath in. Let all your breath out. Feel free to sigh or to make noise on your exhale. Give away something and receive something. Well, do we know it that when we embody, when we find ourselves embodied in our practice, these are the gifts that help us bring forth awareness, commitment, discipline. Go ahead and walk your feet forward and relax your head. Wobble it about. Feel free to shimmy and shake. Inhale for a halfway lift. And now your legs have already gotten fairly open from what we've done. So stay in this halfway lift. You can put your hands on blocks if you want to. Lift your femur bones and then draw them back. Spread out the bones of your feet and feel them root into the earth. And then exhale and melt again. Bend your knees, relax your skull, drop your hips down and rise all the way up. Okay, so as we come up to stand, reach your arms overhead, a little bit of a back bend, so open up the chest, spread open the wings, hug the shoulder blades toward each other, and then exhale and round your chin and chest. Again, open up, feel the chest broaden, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then exhale and relax. Swoop the arms up. Take a deep breath, exhale, and float forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and melt. Relax your head. Step your front foot or your left foot back. Come into a lunge. Feel into the length of your spine. Feel into that deep compression of the front and the openness of the back hip. Let's start to move. Breathe as you go. So feel the flow of your practice. Finding a bent knee in the front and then straightening out the front knee a little bit more. Don't worry if you don't go all the way straight. Be mindful of the spine. We don't want to over round the spine. Settle your legs, ground into a lunge. Rising up, bring the arms to the sky. Lean back if it feels nice. Take a deep breath, cactus, open your arms, and then press your hands forward. Find your breath. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands out. Press them forward. Hang out here. Keep the left arm out in front of you. Take your right arm back behind you. Find your breath. Feel the back body, feel the core. Inhale, rise up just with that one arm. Other hand can be on your hip or even on the back thigh for a little bit of a twist. Exhale and release the hands down. Back foot comes forward, melt the neck. Try to release any tension. Halfway lift, spine grows. Exhale and bend again. Step your right foot back. Left foot is now forward, so enjoy. Start to pay attention. Notice, does this side feel very different from the other or similar? You know, how's the state of your hips on both sides? How about your legs? Okay, let's go back and forth. Sometimes we have better balance on one side than we do on the other. Some sides, for standing poses and other poses, you can feel more at home in one side of the body than the other. So pay attention. And if you do find part of you that has been slightly outcast, not as home, see what you can do to welcome yourself into that side. So if you have favorites, if you like to do standing poses on one side more than the other, when you get to your least favorite side, let's rise up. See what you can do to welcome yourself home. Bring some big open space into your breath. Ground through your legs. Let's move. Take an inhale, cactus, open the arms, and then press your hands forward. Rising up, cactus your arms. Press forward, lean forward. Keep the right arm up, take the left arm back. Feel the back body and the front body support you. Press into the legs. And then rise up. Your hand can go on your hip or reach back to your thigh. Lift open. Find the breath here. And then release your hands down. Front foot back, dog pose. So find the balance between the left and right sides. That sense of symmetry. Relax your neck. Deep inhale. Soft exhale. Come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Feel that sense of integration in the body. All right, you can put your knees down when you're ready. Find the ground, roll the shoulders. Just feel that mobility that lives in your shoulder blades. Inhale, come up to cobra. Exhale to come down. Twice more, rising up. Keep your core and legs supporting you. Exhale, coming down. Last time, rising up. Big breath. Coming on down. Pick up your feet, put your hands under your head, rock a little bit, left and right. Scoot a bit over to the right side of your mat and bring your left knee high. Come into Sphinx pose with your arms and just feel into the deep flexion in your hip. So what can you imagine that you have a sandbag kind of laying down on that outer hip so that you have some weight helping you come into that flexion. You don't have to be this high if you don't want to be this high with your arms. And we're going to turn this into a twist. Bring the right arm over to the left, open up, spread both your arms, let your knee leave the ground for whatever place it needs to go. Come back round. Other side, right knee high up toward your armpits, stretch through the hip flexors of the back leg. All right, so feel into the Sphinx pose living here. So engage your core a little bit so you're not sinking in your spine. Try to drop some weight into the flexion of your hip. All right, when we're ready, you're going to take the left arm over to the right. Swing your body open. Come into a twist here. Let your knee leave the ground. Open across your chest. Feel your pecs spread. Breathe well. For just a moment, let your head rest. All right, come back round again. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Move your spine about. Okay. We're going to keep two hands on the ground. Take your right leg straight back behind you. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring your knee out to the side and turn and look at your knee. And then bring it on back. Exhale, knee and face come toward each other. Bring it on back. Bring it back. Place that knee down. Left leg straight out behind you. Integrate through your core. Use your obliques for this. Turn your head. Bring your knee up. Feel that side body compression. Bring it on back. Exhale as you go into this. Inhale to bring your leg back. Exhale. Bring it on back. Come up to dog pose when you're ready. Find your breath. Then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Find a halfway lift. Stretch your thigh bones back. And then relax again. Come on up. All right, so we're going to come into a squat. Take your legs. I like them just a little bit wider than the mat, but that might be different for your body. You might like wider or more narrow. You can turn your feet straight or turned out, whichever way your knees like to land. So you want your knees and your feet to land in the same plane. Put your elbows inside your knees, palms together. Drop your hips so that they're in line with the knees or a little higher. Spread open the bones of your feet. Find your breath. And then when you're ready, stretch your arms either out and over your head, out to the sides, or back to the sides. Choose what makes your breath good, your shoulders happy, you can sustain it. Ground into your feet. And then rise all the way up. Now that can make you dizzy, so let's come back to the center. Everybody squeeze your thigh one over the other. Hands come together, tuck your chin, take a deep breath in. Blow out like you're pushing through a hard to blow up balloon. And then unwind that. Second time, we're gonna go deeper now. So we can put your hands on the floor. We're gonna come to, an all the way down here squat. Okay, so you can have, I have my heels on the ground. I can do that with my ankles, but if you can't, you can take a blanket and stick the edge of a blanket underneath your heels so that you have a little support. If this is intense on your pelvic floor, you can sit on a block. That also can help you if your knees, because you can bring your feet a little bit more forward. So whatever kind of support you need to kind of hang out in this deep compression in the hip joints. In our culture, we don't spend much time squatting. In many other cultures, this is a very normal, everyday activity to spend a lot of time squatting. So let's enjoy the deep compression in our knees and hips and the work of the spine to help you stay upright. All right, let's put our hands onto the ground. Lift your hips high now. Take your feet wide so you can even turn sideways on the mat so that you're in Pasrita. So hands can be on the ground or they can be on blocks. Find your breath. We're going to go into a deep one-legged squat. So come all the way over to your right and bend as much into that as you can. Let the inner thigh of your left leg open. Stretch through your spine. A full breath. And then we're going to come back to the other side and open up through that leg. Stretch open through your heart. Feel the inner thigh open, but also feel the compression of the leg that you're squatting into. Okay, and then come back up. Keep your legs wide, a wide squat now. Elbows inside the knees, coax your inner thighs open, spread open the bones of your feet. Find your breath. A deep inhale, a deep exhale. All right, we're going to rise all the way up. Of course, if you get dizzy, because that can happen after squatting, you can go and do the squeezing to the midline thing if you need to. All right, so come up to stand. Let's take a little balance here. We're going to stand on our right foot and pick up our left foot behind us. And just have a little bit of a quad stretch. We're not going to go into dancer pose. We're just giving our thighs a moment. Breathing well. Okay, put that foot down and grab onto the other. You can always use a wall if you need a little support. Stay inside your breath. Tailbone descends, pubic bone lifts. Try not to lean out to the side. Keep your hip plugged in. And then release your legs down. Turn to the wide edge of your mat. Okay, find your breath. We're going to move, and you can hold the block if you want to for this pose between your hands. If that helps you kind of keep integrity in the upper body, you don't have to. We're going to move into the squat on one leg, cross over to the other side and rise up. So try not to do this, where you're moving with your back. Let it all be about your legs. So we're moving down and across and then up. Let the legs be the powerhouses here. Squat, transfer the weight, and then push off. One more time this direction. Okay, we're going to pause at the top. You can put your arms down to rest if you want. We're going to go the other way. So moving into that leg, crossing over to the other side, rising up. Try to keep your spine as neutral as you can. So we're really relying on our core, on our glutes, on our hamstrings, on our quads, on our inner thighs. There's a lot of muscles that can support you in this pose, so use them. Breathing well. One more time. All right, come up to stand. Relax your shoulders. We're going to bring our feet a little closer in, as wide, a little wider than your hips. We're going to just do some squatting and then standing. So if you know that this makes you dizzy, then your squat, you can either just stay in a squat instead of coming up and down, or you can just do babies, where you're just moving a little bit and feeling into the flow. So take care of yourself. Okay. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, squat. The next one, we're going to stay down there. All right, so feel into your squat again. Elbows inside your knees. Find the spine. Feel your feet. Spread out the bones of your feet. And then come on up to stand. Bring your palms open. If you're dizzy, you can always squeeze to the midline. You can always even just stand in Tadasana to let your legs have a moment to rest. Breathing well. We're going to take our legs wide. Turn your right foot out. We're going to come into Parsvakonasana. So this hopefully will feel good. You should be open for this kind of pose after everything we've done. So stretch open. Enjoy the hip flexor opening. Try not to push this hip forward. Take it back and lengthen through your side. If your shoulder needs support, you can always have your hand on your hip instead of over your head. Round into your legs. Spin that jaw lid of your front foot. So toes kind of turn a little bit to the right, heel turns a little bit to the left. Hug your feet toward each other. Root down. And then come on up. We're going to turn our feet, coming over to the second side, Parsvakonasana. Now, remember always, if your knee, I forget sometimes to remind you that you can always do this. If your knee is troublesome, you can put a block against a wall and have your shin against the block, and this will support your posture really well. So this is always a way to try the pose if you are, have trouble being low in the posture or just holding it. Keep that thigh bone back, round through the feet. Keep your neck and shoulders soft. All right, rise back up. Turn your feet straight. Bring your hands down. Relax your head. Full breaths. Turn back to the front of your mat. For a dog pose, enjoy your legs being neutral. A breath in, a breath out. Come forward into a plank when you're ready. Integrate into the core. Put your knees down, find the ground. Roll the shoulders, open the chest. And then exhale. Relax. We're going to come over onto our back. Don't think the work is done yet. Don't get excited just yet. Okay, so find your way onto your back. And we're going to come into happy baby pose again. So feel into the deep squat. Hopefully we're getting somewhere. And we're going to open your left leg straight. Keep holding your foot. If you don't go all the way straight, that's so fine. Back to center. Open your right leg. And then back to center. Now notice when you're in happy baby pose, we often round our spine. So let's see what it feels like to have the low back lose its pressure on the ground, to drop the tailbone toward the earth. And then we're going to see if we can let go of our hands on our feet and push our hands straight up toward the sky and see if we can still maintain this position. Okay, so feel into your hip flexors, doing a lot of work, but we're still trying to keep the low back from pressing into the ground. And then relax. Stretch out your legs and arms. Deep breath, starfish on the ground. Knees into your chest. Rock a bit. All right, we're gonna put our head behind our hands. Lift your feet. I'm gonna turn so my feet don't hit. We're gonna lift our feet up in the air. Now let's do this with bent knees actually. Bend your knees, okay? So we're gonna straighten the right leg. We're not gonna touch onto the ground. Straighten it, lift your right chest toward your left knee. Bring your knee back in, chest down. Switch sides, left leg straight, left chest to right knee. Bring it back. So try hard not to pull on your head and use your elbows. We're trying to keep, the position really in our core, using our core muscles to do this instead of relying on our neck and shoulders. Make sure you're breathing. Feel into the work of the hip flexors and the core finding each other. How's your breath? And then we're going to relax. Bring our feet down onto the ground. Big breath. Come into a bridge pose. Feet on the ground, lift your chest. Rise up, open the hip flexors a bit. Press into the feet. Relax and melt back down. Okay, bring your legs straight up. We're going to open them out like a V. Hands come between your legs. We're going to lift the chest and take your hands through your legs. Exhale to do this. Feel your core. Try to keep your neck neutral. If you have a hard time with that, put your hands behind your head and support your head instead. One more. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. All right, put your feet on the ground. Take a rest for a moment. We've been working hard, so let's just let our body rest. You can straighten your legs if you prefer. Little mini Shavasana. Gathering up our energy, bringing ourselves home to our breath. And then roll over onto your side. Now this pose isn't for everyone. We're going to do crow pose. You know, I feel like so much of the yogic repertoire has been shrunken out of our practice online because I'm not with you, and so it's hard to really kind of gauge what's happening and keep you all safe. So if you know this pose and you feel comfortable doing this pose, let's try it. And you can bring a blanket in front of you so that if you feel like you're gonna fall on your face, you can have some support. You can start this pose with your feet on blocks if you want to get you a little higher. So you can, I'll show it with the blocks. So you can come up with your feet on the blocks. Okay, we're gonna come into that open inner thighs, but deep compression in your hips, all this squatting that we've been doing. Try to get your armpits into the inner knees. Now notice, before you even go up, if your back is super rounded, what can you do to lengthen the spine and find that slight anterior tilt of the pelvis? And then place your hands down onto the ground in a nice shoulder width, comfortable position, and then start to tip forward. Maybe you take one toe off the block, maybe you take 2 feet off the block, and you tap, 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 and just see where your crow pose might be. If you get 1 foot off the block, then try putting that one down and take the other foot off the block. Notice which foot you took off first instinctually. And just do your best to try. Okay, you don't ever have to leave your branch. You can be a crow on a branch. You do not have to be a flying crow. All right, so like I said, it's hard because this is a difficult pose. Arm balances are difficult. I've been avoiding them for 2.5 years now with y'all. And I feel bad because, you know, these are great poses to help us stay strong, brave, committed, right? Disciplined. Okay, let's come out of there. Come onto your back. We're gonna do a supported bridge pose. So take the block at the low height and put it under your pelvis. And just in case you over-rounded your spine, give it a chance to kind of reset. Take some deep breaths.
And now when you're ready, you can just hang out here like this for the whole time or a while longer. You don't have to do this. But if you want to, you can either stretch one leg straight at a time so the heel comes down on the ground. And then after a few breaths, you can switch sides to the other side. Or if you're comfy, you can take two legs straight. So this, for some people, to have two legs straight with the block under your pelvis is not happy for your back. So just explore opening up your hip flexors in a way that feels safe and comfortable for your spine. Breathing well. When you're complete with that, if you chose to do it, we're going to bring our legs straight up in the air. And your knees can be bent when you do this. You don't have to have straight legs, but you can. You can bring your feet a little closer. You can bring them right over the pelvis, whatever feels good. Let's go ahead and relax. Bring your feet down onto the ground. Lift your hips. Take the block out from underneath you. Let's windshield wiper our knees, left and right. Come rolling over onto your side, onto your right side. Okay. We're gonna grab onto the top of your left thigh, or left ankle rather, and then stretch your quadricep. We're gonna also do a hip flexor stretch in just a moment, but just enjoy your quads opening. Bring the knees up, roll over onto your left side, grab the right top of ankle, and stretch into a quad stretch. Breathing well, support your head with your arm, or you can have more support than that with a blanket or a block. And relax. We're gonna roll all the way over onto our side and come up onto all fours. Bring your right foot forward. Keep your knee down on the ground, lunging here. Open that hip flexor, bring your hands onto your knees, and a little bit of a twist. So just bring your forearm onto your knee. Your other hand, your right hand, can be on your thigh to push down to help you have length in your spine. Open across your collarbones. Come back, all fours. Move your spine about. Left foot comes forward. Just enjoy the hip flexor stretch. Open things up. When you're ready, you can bring your hands onto your knee. Try not to collapse into your low back, so we're stabilizing. Bring your forearm onto your knee, a slight twist. Left hand's on your thigh to help lift you and support you. Breathing well. Relax. We're going to come into pigeon pose. Reverse pigeon if your body needs reverse pigeon. Right leg forward first. Okay. Hopefully your legs feel okay enough to come into the depth of this. Of course, if you want a block, you can put a block underneath your head. Breathing well. Melt and relax as best as you can, nice and soft. Let your skull be at ease. Deep fluid breaths, a long exhale. come into the other side when you're ready. There's no rush. Anytime, we kind of work through a lot of different things today in our practice. So I hope you feel that you can always diverge and take a slower pace, a faster pace, different postures, modification of postures, anything that supports you. So in this posture, let your head be supported if you can. Relax your upper body. Soften your neck and shoulders, even your hands. Feel into the surrender and into the space. All right, a final dog pose. When you feel ready, bring that foot back, a long spine, open up the backs of your legs, melt into your exhales, and then come down and rest in child. Let's come on to our back. A simple twist. So we're going to pick up our hips and scoot them to the right. Knees come up, drop them left. Turn your head. Modify this in any way that you want to. And of course, you can straighten your top leg and hold on to your pants or your leg if you want a little deeper stretch in your outer hip. Come back to center. Scoot your hips left. Bring your knees over right. Shavasana. If there's anything your body needs, take that pose. Otherwise, just allow yourself to deeply, deeply rest. Your limbs melt as best as you can allow. Your head too, let it be heavy. Bring yourself into your breath. space around you. Breathe deeply, let it all go. Feel into any movement. You can try rocking your legs like pigeon toe, duck feet, pigeon toe, duck feet. And let that happen from your femur bone. And then a big breath and stretch your body. Exhale, bring your knees in and come over onto your side. Push yourself up to sit as you are ready. Find a comfortable seat. You are upright. Put your hands together at your heart. And just notice there are so many gifts that our yoga practice gives to us in mind, in body, in breath, in our emotional states, our capacity to have different perspectives, to have discipline. There's so many. So if you are reaching toward facilitating commitment of some kind, use your practice as a tool, a gift, a support as you move your way through your days. Let's offer our energy outward. Send your care and love to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Blessings on the day.